Well, and I'll never get tired of the fucking crisp can opening.
It's right next to my mic, to be fair.
Yes, and you do it every time, and it's always great. I love it.
Remember the first time I did it was in Lob with fucking...
Oh, the first time you did it was like on your old mic settings, and
and
it was fucking crisp as hell.
And the nuts. I just fucking bust up again. We couldn't save her.
Right. Hi. So, today's gonna be a chaotic day. Because first of all, we have to finish something that we started back in the beginning of September and never properly finished because scheduling was hell. And yeah, this is what we have to finish this. We don't have to. I could have finished this in my own time, but also I know people would have liked me just doing this on stream, which is why I have made myself a nice cup of tea, because there are 4 chapters that we have to finish here before we can actually properly start Limbus Company. Let's see. Do I need to adjust anything on stream and for visuals? I think it's zoomed in okay enough for stream. Maybe we're also gonna be reading over it. As long as you're able to read it, Blend, that's what matters more than anything.
Yeah.
We're also in. Hi. As long as things make out relatively okay. But yeah, hi, we have 4 chapters left of this that we did not read previously because we already powered through, like, a lot of reading and very much burnt ourselves out back in September, and then also Limbus, couldn't figure out a start time for Limbus. It has been 5 months since we've done anything Project Moon. Remember, I label myself as a Project Moon streamer. I've not done anything Project Moon since September. This feels weird.
To be fair, scheduling issues.
Absolutely. Scheduling issues were the entire conflict there. Also, I need to adjust one thing before we start. I just want to give like quick little, just preamble of how this is going to go today. We should ideally finish this within 2 hours, giving us about a 30-minute break, give or take, and that'll be good. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I realized that I had the text size a little bit smaller than I would have liked, and now that's good. Beautiful. Everyone can see your name. Alright, and with that said, I'm changing up the music because I wanted to hear this one last time, and this definitely doesn't work for
No, it doesn't.
Everything.
I will let you know that the last song in the playlist is very much meant to be played around this time, but I will let you know when.
It's also like 2 minutes long, so yeah.
It is 2 minutes long, to be fair, but we can't just loop it.
Right, so previously in this bullshit, everything went wrong. I don't have to voice Garnet, who was practicing for 30 minutes remembering my voice for him, and then I remembered, oh wait, that boy is a fucking rock. I don't think he's coming back from that. We're in the Virgilius show now. So the way I'll be doing, right, I will do narration, but Blinn, we're going back to distortion detective type things here. So it be what it be. I think I have volume balance there well. Okay. Book 17, Crying Voices. There was a cry rising from within. The beginning of every human being is also a cry. Just as in the old tale that speaks of man's expulsion from paradise for committing the sin of coveting the forbidden fruits, mankind once again weeps as we are burdened with life. For the sin of bearing sin is too great. I gaze at the red jewel, or perhaps it's a red egg standing before me. I thought of calling his name, but I immediately gave up, because I found my Gladius lying on the floor. Garnet never handled anything recklessly. Maybe due to his years in the orphanage, where the concept of ownership was vague. Perhaps because he realized early how to survive in the city. He even kept the wrapping paper from the gifts I gave him. That's why. I know the painful reason behind the Gladius laying on the ground. I lift the Gladius. The crawling whalers approached me. Among them, an unsightly, flower-like thing ran towards me before the others. Gubo had taken out his karambit, but even before that thing reached me. Without thinking of the consequences, he thrust it right at me. I extended my hand to stop him. Who the fuck?
Don't forget your original purpose.
Who the fuck was Gubo again, by the way? That was guy from...
That's Nomad.
Oh yeah, I know. But I'm more so, I'm like, Gubo was like trading guy from some company or whatever, or some corp, I believe, right?
He's from N.
N, beloved. Why? Kubo shrugs his shoulders after looking doubtful for a second and heads to the corner where the one called Asya is. That thing comes near me in a panicked manner. It opened a gaping hole that seemed to function as its mouth, appearing unable to resist tasting anything it could fit in there. It seemed like it would continue roaming about the past, present, and future. I could hear the clicking sound of its teeth, which are clustered in a thin layer. Surrounding the teeth is a bundle of threads come together like dandelion flower seeds, but they are not pure white, but a gray that has forgotten sunlight. Perhaps these flower seeds will never soar through the winds. They are too heavy to fly away like cotton wool. However, if I cut it open with a gladius, they would easily disperse. But what use would I have for a decapitated head? Heightened thermogeneration. Heat increased to the utmost limits. When the temperature had reached the point where smoke could be seen, I inserted the scorching iron blade into its mouth, as if waiting for it. Countless fangs rushed towards my hands. However, not even the very tip of a single tooth reached me. A strange moaning sounded simultaneously to the searing of the heat, and a terrible burning smell spread. The red-hot gladius appeared to have sealed the mouth of this greedy one. Yet the eyes of this thing still looked directly at me, and its mouth, which refused to close, constantly prodded at me. This thing doesn't know how to give up. It has no patience. It's filled only with a desire to chew and swallow. As I pull out my gladius, a bloody sensation fills my head. My vision is disturbed by the cries and memories of the past rush between the cracks. When one lusts insatiably after riches, nothing will ever suffice. Denver was the first among us to realize that fact. After many nights of extreme hunger to the point of fainting, Denver had become a voracious whirlwind. Driven only by desire, she leaped forward, unconcerned if it caused all the roads she traversed to crumble. Such feelings of self-pity had pushed her to the garbage dump, along with the chicken bone fragments that had one day been her meals. I'm not so different. No, perhaps I was even more miserable. For the sake of the children in the orphanage, to protect the office, to endure on my own, I repeated numerous excuses and my reasons and turning points, but I, and her too, simply wanted to catch something and eat it whole to make us feel alive. We were all hungry. We were too busy forcefully trying to satisfy our desires, sinking our teeth into somebody's flesh, consuming it without being able to digest it properly. I am no different than I was then. I peeled off a piece of flesh and tangled in a gladius. Were you also voicing Jumsoon? I think you were, but I can take it if you'd like.
I forget.
It's been 5 months. Yeah, Jumsoon was the fucking JoJo's ass villain of this whole thing.
Oh, the ring member?
Yeah, the ring member, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better if you take it than Virgilius.
The red caves? You don't seem to know, don't you? I looked toward the voice I heard and see Jumsoon gasping, barely able to stand. Wounds could be seen all over his body. Was he pressured into a struggle during his fight with Garnet, or did the crawling whalers stubbornly cling to him? This thing's true identity. Shall I tell you what it is? I silently approached Jumsoon. It was all too obvious that he was anticipating me. His eyes watched to see if I would fall to my knees in anguish in the face of despair. However, another whaler tried to close the gap. I twist the handle and make the blade burn hot red. It has several feet attached to it, bare feet. They're completely swollen as if it had wandered from place to place. I love that Virgilius keeps having lines of just ellipses. It is his thing, yeah. On its feet, an unusual piece of cloth clings to them. It's a fabric with a jumble of blue and black patterns. I had seen that before. I had seen a child in the orphanage wearing it to hide a large scar on her ankle caused by broken glass. It belonged to a certain child from the orphanage. With displeasure, I am reminded of that day. There was one day that children always waited for with bated breath. On that day, they were lavished with gifts and blessings simply because they were children. On the day before it, the children were unable to sleep properly. I always wondered if the weight of that anticipation was tacked onto me. The weight of the massive packages I held with both hands never felt particularly bad. Garnet later told me that the reason the kids waited so impatiently was not to receive their presents, but to see me become particularly generous with my laughter on that one day. When I realized why their faces would become so bright as they looked into my eyes, to the point of forgetting to put on their shoes, I couldn't help but truly smile.
And still...
I wondered if this was the place where those feet, determined to reach the end of the line, finally stopped. The feet ran into my body with all of their strength, unconcerned if its flesh would be slashed here and there due to the impact, or if its trunk would become inflamed. Its sole perfect eye stared at me. It doesn't resemble the look of that day. Except it does. I don't want to say it does. I must not be tainted by this new flow. I avoid its gaze and slit its many ankles. The blood loss, stopped by the cauterization, doesn't lead to its death. Instead, it slumps down and cowers, yet it never stops crawling, so it can reach me. Its cries echo throughout the room, and the lumps of flesh writhe senselessly. A warm, raw feeling travels down my fingertips. This time, too, the cries pushed me far, far into the past. On my first visit to the orphanage, I still was hesitant, and then one of the children suddenly came up to me and grabbed my hands.
Well, mister, your hand is so rough.
Thank you, Blen.
Yeah, all good. I did not want to make you do everything else while I just did for Julius.
Whose 90% of lines until probably the last chapter will be ellipses. I appreciate it.
He does speak.
I know. He's just one-liners. A tiny palm touched the back of my hand without any hesitation. Although it was... What's up?
If you want to swap, I guess.
No. This I can do this. This is fine. I will have nothing to do otherwise. It would be the reverse. This is much easier for me. I'm in control of scrolling the page after all. It's okay.
Okay. Just making sure.
It works. It's okay. This is how it must be. Although it was covered with blisters, the soft warmth that showered my hand was exceedingly warm. That was when I recognized how much I missed that warmth. I wanted to huddle together and dwell on that warmth all the time, even if I knew that was nothing more than deception and hypocrisy. Why? I didn't need to open my mouth to reply, for Jamsoon already seemed to know the answer. Jamsoon backed away as if he didn't anticipate it. Why, you already knew the truth. Did he want to ask me how I could stay so calm? I was under no obligation to answer, so I kept my mind silent. This is rather nice, isn't it? The red gaze. It's because of that unexpectedness that you're so fun. Jamsoon continues to yell, Asya! Gather all rift generators around me! You must concentrate them all on me! He shouted at Asya, his face contorted in a strange, eerie way.
Will you be able to stand it?
If I can't bear it, would that even matter? Increase the refraction index to the same level as before. No, turn it to the maximum, Jamsoon yelled loudly, perhaps in a hurry. Or perhaps it was a cry of ecstasy. In that
cat.
Sorry, go ahead.
And the rest in the glass windows wouldn't reach an absurd reading.
That kid was accepted, why couldn't I? And aren't you hoping for that deep inside? To see what will happen to me?
It would be hard to deny.
Next to Asya, Gubo was also looking at Jamsoon with an intrigued face. It wasn't the kind of expression one would expect when faced with an enemy. They all looked the same. I took a step forward, feeling a strange discomfort. At that moment, I felt something shimmering and looked around the area to see all the reflectors attached to the top of the experimental tubes, facing towards Jamsoon. I couldn't see it, but I felt like something was shining intensely down on me. This is a... Fucking at the club. The club is horror. In that strange light, Jamsoon looked like he was ushering in pure joy and happiness. This expression did not change even as a thick, taut shell, emerging from who knows where, enveloped him. As I was bewildered, carelessly unable to move, another crying voice initiated its approach. The water in its transparent torso was making a sloshing sound. It seemed that the only course it could take was to sink into the mire, having given up on flowing. However, it seems to have difficulty controlling its sinking, spitting out the water in its lungs. The water comes rushing out of the floor as if sighing. I burn its mouth shut. Now it can't spit out anything anymore. A damp sensation coils around my body. Hold on, really quick. There we go. Cool. Yippee. Actually, there we go. I'm like, I need to change. This is too happy. I spent alone. A damp sensation coils around my body. Memories of bygone days similar to before come flooding in, undulating like waves. I spent a lot of time alone. Being a fixer is akin to building a wall brick by brick, all the while trying to rise above it all on your own. In the end, the day comes when you'll have no option to become a pawn in somebody else's schemes. There will be no one willing to take your back. That's why you have to build the wall by yourself. For that reason, I often had to close my mouth, eyes, and ears. I saw no need to cast a personal gaze on a world where ill fates are overlooked. I didn't want to put my heart into something that could crumble at any moment. And so I sank. Perhaps the only thing that stopped me from drowning was Lapis's sudden visit to the orphanage. When my mind regained its senses, Jumsoon's egg-like form began to wriggle and change into something else. The indigo eggshell twisted and swelled here and there, gradually taking on a human shape. The shell grew hard, shiny white scales covered by numerous dots of the same color as the eggshell. Then a slimy, thick tail sprouted out of his lower back, completing the guise. A speckled foot crushed the thing in front of me. Pouring out of it, together with the water, was a hairband outfitted with a cherry fruit ornament. Suddenly, I feel something cold around my face and neck. Water droplets come forth, falling to the floor. They weren't intense, like the ones that dangled around Garnet's eyes. There was no sobbing, only a constant stream of light rain. The husk that had encased Jumsoon is hanging onto the machinery, an indigo blue shell. Jumsoon had broken out from within and now began to step forward, step by step. Alright, I fuck with that. Polka dotted lizard thingy. God, the fucking... Jeez, Project Moon. The body was speckled with countless dots, and the eyes that glazed over. Hi, Basil. And the tongue that flicked around arrogantly. Even his internal organs were covered with them. I don't think I've ever seen anything so strange.
What happened?
The universe conceived me once more. A simple question clashes with an incomprehensible answer. Jumsoon walks. Beneath his steps, a black puddle forms in the shape of a dot. It wasn't like the spreading of ink nor the adhesion of paint, but as if the dot was engraved onto the floor. As soon as one of the crying voices grazed on the dots, it instantaneously burst open. Does the body explode when it touches those dots? It was only for a moment. I believe I saw its body become covered by dots akin to someone with nettle rash. Either way, you'd probably be unable to finish a single word of warning if you touched them. Furthermore, I proclaim that only I can expand the universe in pursuit of beauty. Jumsoon's arm drew near me in the blink of an eye. Still, I reflexively thrust out the gladius in an attempt to lop it off. Surely, for Jumsoon, this struggle against me was his very first. However, he was already used to it. He seemed to have become acquainted with my method of attack quickly. Even if he understood it beforehand, he moved as if he saw my attacks firsthand. It has been a few moments filled with several skirmishes. I realized that this sensation was not just a coincidence. I chose to switch from slashing to piercing during our engagement. As I focused on aiming at his vital points, I supplemented my attacks with the use of Shin. However, Jumsoon once again grasped the essence of my piercing attacks and immediately countered them. I think this is Virgilius, or this is Jumsoon twice. Possibly, yeah. 34 times. That was the number of times I died when you pierced me here, in the artery. Jumsoon said so as he pointed at his chest. There laid a big dot in its center. That was one of the areas I was focusing on. It's the most essential vital point, which leads to death in seconds once hit. 46 times. That was the number of times I died when you pierced me here. Jumsoon pointed to his neck. And as soon as I tried to maintain distance between us, you would throw your sword with a ring of lights right here. Jumsoon pointed to a spot near his thigh. He listed every vital point in the order I prefer to aim at them. If my attack against the heart is blocked, I'll go for the external carotid artery that passes through the throats. And if that isn't possible, then I will follow with a slash at the large posterior tibial artery in the thigh. If all these attacks are prevented, and I have no choice but to continue close quarters combat, I wait for an opportunity to hit the wrist's radial artery. Of course, I'm sure this is the first time I fought against this person, yet his actions and words. Do you see? All of these moments are displayed throughout my body. The hues of several worlds have filled me with experience. Jimsoon spoke in a composed voice as he swung his leg. The unexpected trajectory allowed for his leg to slightly scratch my left arm. Then the dots on Jimsoon's body spread through out my body. I had expected an explosion, but... Should I voice? You got okay, that's okay.
I'm not sure if that's Virgilius or
definitely not Charon.
Lapis.
In my field of vision, Lapis was here. My back was bleeding before I knew it. There was a thin knife stuck in it that Lapis must have stabbed me with it just now. That kid always appeared unnoticed when I would deliver the presents with a merry smile and candy in her mouth. At those times, she would always write something ridiculous on a piece of paper and stick it on my back. Now that had become a sharp weapon. Why did you do that? Lapis's question pierced through me, deeper than that blade. The question... Or are you voicing Lapis?
No, this was Gabe, but
yeah, okay. For sake of ease, especially since I imagine final chapter, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Lapis's question pierced through me, deeper than that blade. The question was vague, but I understood its intent. I was the one who killed those children's parents and sent them to the orphanage. I sensed Lapis's surprise attack. There was no way I couldn't. I could have avoided it or fought against her, but I chose to ignore the tingling pain of the thin blade that had stabbed me. But I couldn't ignore that. You gave everyone presents, sent money every month. Did you get any consolation from that? No. No consolation was to be found. Maybe I was wishing for this day. Instead of staring at the gift in my hands, looking at your expectant eyes for the moment, and realizing you had put a piece of paper in my back, I wanted you to stab me in that very same spot with all the force you can muster. As I pointed at the corpses of your parents with the same blade that took their lives, I wondered if the only way to heal that wound would not be by whistling and rolling candy around your mouth, as you've always done, but with the edge of a pale, thin blade. Mister. Before I knew it, I was in my office. It had become a hellscape, as if attempting to show that a fierce battle had taken place here. Not a single desk or drawer was where they were meant to be. Lan Yen was lying in a strange position. His entire body was covered with dozens of wounds as if he had been slashed to pieces. Garnet lay beside him as well. This was the consequence of my judgment. We should have stayed together no matter what. I could hear Garnet saying, I want to be part of your strategy. Mr. Yen protected me. I examined the depths of the wounds Garnet had sustained. They were proficient in professional skill. It was a chopping wound appropriate for leaving someone near death. Their intention wasn't instant death, but probably a message to me. Considering their ability, this is a warning. I watched as Garnet shortly breathed his last. It reminded me of someone who was begging for their life. I was unable to do anything back then. The present me can, but I no longer know what to do. Everything had become a lump of guilt. Nevertheless, those weren't the only sins I bore. Every step I took, every gesture I made, and every look I gave brought misfortune to someone else. But I'm not so superficial that I could die from this forged guilt. I threw a strong punch at his cheek, causing the dark-colored blot in my hand to spread widely before suddenly stopping. I see. Garnet did come here with me. Sure enough, that was only a false image created by the dots. But it was so vivid as if I had actually experienced it. What about this? Drowning in a universe linked by dots. You finally want to die, don't you? He went through various worlds like this to fight me. Large and small dots tinged with a dark indigo color. When I looked into these, They seem to be those faraway worlds themselves. Those dots covering Jimsoon must have served this purpose as well. You. Oh yeah. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
The distortion detective did a good job, but Virgilius does not translate well in light novel.
No, it doesn't.
That's it. All those very dots coming together as ecstasy. He wanted to say something more, but no more words came out. The vision projected in front of his eyes, those worlds. One after another they changed. Towards a world of infinite possibilities. Someday, somewhere. Uniformly, they all stabbed me with something sharp. The time that seemed to be an eternity in a moment passed. My vision was eventually embraced by complete darkness. And then, from somewhere, a voice began to speak to me as if in a trance. An awfully warm voice. A voice that made me want to become completely buried in it for all time. It spoke to me. It's nice to talk to you again. Assuming that's Garnet. Okay. What?
You'll understand who that is.
Yeah, I'm wrong. Yippee. One down. One down. It's been 30 minutes. We got this. Book 18, Questions and Answers. Silence. I haven't felt such utter stillness in quite a long time. In its midst, the voice of the one who proclaims itself master of this space is clearly heard. It shimmers as if smothered in light.
Who are you?
Oh, thank God I can finally have a sip of tea. Only after I forced those words out did I realize there was a point. What's up?
Nothing.
I know you might offer to trade, but it's okay. It's alright. I was holding my cup of tea in my hands for like 10 minutes there, waiting for a line where Virgilius said anything in detail.
Actually said something.
I'm like, I'll get to take a sip of tea eventually. Eventually. Fuck. Only after I forced those words out did I realize that was a pointless question. There's no one left in this city who calls me Ver anymore. I suddenly remembered that when I last heard such a moniker, my eyes were not as they are now. I wonder then, if the world as my eyes captured it back then was greener than it is now. Should I voice this, or?
This is you, yes.
Okay. Who I am isn't very important, Ver. Let's just have a little talk. Is this Carmen? God damn it. All that spreads before my eyes is a warm and comforting light. It's as if all the light and color that was boundlessly scattered throughout the city came to life, evoking the imprudent illusion that all fault is being washed away just by being here. Then, a visage invariably came to mind, one of salvation, yet which I vividly felt shouldn't be embraced carelessly. As such, we are each other's guests. Just as I have something I want to ask you, you have something you want to ask me. While I was on the city's surface, I held numerous unanswered questions. Questions no one could answer or simply wouldn't acknowledge. Therefore, I decided to reply to this voice. Your heart looks to be aching. The children you couldn't save are swirling around in your head, aren't they? Replying was unnecessary, it seems. They were quite the innocent children. There was no sentimentality in that sentence, neither pity nor regret. Perhaps this being knows what happened to transform those children.
The children that underwent the experiment.
It's too late. The way back is gone. That clear ignorance of the world made the children rather burdensome. The merry voice mercilessly strikes down my question. To tell the truth, I had a vague estimate of that fact. That's not to say that I didn't hope to be wrong. I think I heard your heart break. My heart made no such sounds. However, only after the voice said so did I notice I was quietly cracking apart.
But to have become like this, the children didn't deserve this.
Then the warm yet unfeeling voice clasped me as if in a hug. But you know, Ver, everything that's happened so far isn't your fault. Fleeting syllables rang out akin to the singing of a song, sounding like a consolation whose sole intent was to absolve me of sin. If I were to listen a little longer, I felt I would surrender myself to this pleasant voice despite my will.
No. That isn't something someone can freely measure.
As its worlds revealed themselves one by one, they were always tightly intertwined. By the time I came to my senses, I was grasping a great lump of guilt in my hands, nothing discernible within. So I held a part of the city in me as well. For consider this. The orphanage's children have turned into something that is no longer themselves, and even the young fixer who wished to help you has entered into a cocoon. The situation may look grave, but compared to everything you've done, it's really just a minor incident. And yet, why does it hurt you more than anything? The voice saw through my facade. It viewed the life I was living, never properly opening up to anyone. It observed all the roads I followed, even from the times when my pupils held no blood. I began to recall all those paths. The people wailing, begging for salvation. Some buried before even being able to scream. The collapsing buildings and all the lives whose blood was shed. However, as a matter of fact, there existed a warm expanse of light, the complete opposite of everything that came before. It surely was the light I created for myself, where they waited for me, where voices of delight and excitement were heard instead of wailing and yelling. I see. The orphanage was your hope. The voice found its answer. You've always considered the city to be wounded, but the stains on your hands won't be washed away, and you'll continue to be the one to keep the blood flowing through the city from drying out. Yes, the foul-smelling wounds of the city run deep, for they have been festering for a long while. I knew how to cure the city, but the road to achieving that goal was so cruel that we would have to spill more blood than was already spilled. You, awkward and kind as you are, have buried that road deep within your hearts. But there exists a method to make this road much gentler. So you found it, without having to dirty my hands yet. Children who may be able to change the city in your place. The orphanage was my very own limbo, my place of redemption. Despite never having informed them of my sins, by stirring up a virtuous attitude within me to the same heights, my frozen heart melted like snow. Sprinkling water and fertilizer in your spare time, making sure the sunlight properly comes in, and there are no insects to bite them. The voice spoke as if it were doing so itself. You looked after them. You who had lived your life following only strong flows, had your eyes only on the potential of what was a feeble flow at best.
Yes, as you say, I wanted to plant seeds that, even if feeble, had potential.
They were hidden in a remote corner where nary a ray of sunshine reached. However, just because something is unseen does not mean it's incomplete. Thus, I looked after them, like growing a tree.
I wanted them to live on my behalf. If I couldn't and get them to live with the heart I couldn't have, I was sure that even the faintest flow would grow into the sturdiest.
However, did I really think the orphanage could change the city? No, for you knew it couldn't. The children were just pieces of paper to wipe off the blood from your hands. Indulgences you yourself printed. But now, they have all been ripped apart. Its tone changed to what I believe was meant to be sympathetic, but it simultaneously became foreboding as well. Because of that, your countless sins flooded in, and so your heart was bound to crack. However, thanks to that, we were able to meet and talk like this. Since when did I begin to experience that feeling called guilt? Since when did I lose the place where I could let my head down? No longer do I have the strength to move. Only now do I realize that this life of playing house may have been my final struggle to protect my soul, to stop the guilt from consuming me. because I know that the place I'm bound for will be too much for me. But let me tell you something, Ver. This is the place where you can speak your mind freely. So, can you let me hear it at all? My heart is cracked, and from that little crack, the voice saw everything. Even the blade that was hidden inside me for so long, yet never stopped sharpening. That blade, buried deep in my heart, was revealed for the first time through the crack, both to me and the voice. We both knew what it was. What you really wanted. It wasn't just playing house at the orphanage. All you want is... You did everything for it. Indeed. All over again. The shell of the city is quite sturdy. No matter how much blood is shed to push through it, it won't be enough to reach the city's wounds, hidden in the most secluded of places. I, who tried to pierce into the wounded core of the city, should know this fact best. Such was your ambition. But as you continued to atone for nothing in your visits to the orphanage, it was gradually buried, to the point that not even a trace of it remains. No, even if it became buried, it never lost its luster. That poignant wish could still cut down all of at a moment's notice. However, when such thoughts surfaced, I'd merely suppressed them back to the recesses of my mind. But burying it is just as painful. That wish is too sharp. It leaves injuries that deny your heart the time to heal. The voice recited agony as if it had been hurt itself. It must have been so difficult, lonesome, suffocating to have such a lofty dream. But you don't have to hide it anymore. Because everyone can create by themselves a world they consider right.
A world for myself? What are you talking about?
A world only for your eyes to see. Exactly that. I'm helping everyone paint their own colors on the city.
Everybody's own world, huh? However, each person's color is different. They could never be nicely painted together.
Okay, there we go. If such a method existed, I would have done it before anyone else. Indeed, as you said, the colors blend together in the lights. Therefore, one must devote all of themselves to painting and protecting one's color, even if a laborious ordeal comes their way. Nevertheless, they must readily fight and overcome it to secure their place, even if they must fight the entire world. I wanted to break the shell of the city, fight and stand up to everything that interfered with my path, tear it all down and eventually create a new world.
What do you mean by an ordeal?
If there is such a way, if it's just, then I'd like to follow it. For instance, what that child is undergoing, or what those children experienced in this laboratory before their alteration. When you become aware of this unbearable world, you burrow into the inside of your egg to separate and establish your called garnet, who would become a red jewel.
What happens once you enter that egg?
What the fuck happens here, Mike? Blinn? Your mic went all roboting all of a sudden. What the fuck? Jump scared. I'm like, was that a robot filter or?
Is that better?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, voice mod does that sometimes.
Voice mod just turned on randomly?
No, it's not. I don't know what's up with it. Sometimes it just does that, and it's super annoying.
It's never done that before. But yeah, understood. It was funny.
What happens once you enter that egg?
Well, you can break out of the egg, or you can be seized by sin and be eaten into nothing but residues. The voice innocently spoke. No one can know the outcome. You'll have to set within the egg to emerge from it. If you're unable to endure the process, what will burst out will be your own sin-eaten remnants.
Is that different from distorting?
Gemsoon is certainly a distortion, as the world calls it, but the children of the laboratory have only become a reflection of their sins. A reflection of sin. The cries of the things that crawled along the floor ring inside my head.
I think that's Carmen.
Yeah, I think so. However, isn't that strange? Since when did it become like that? I thought distorting referred to the phenomenon of people revealing their colors by transforming into a reflection of their egos. The distortion phenomenon emerged as the light spread throughout the city. They were aberrant beings that made the city bleed, wounding even those who gather blood. The voice began to speak in an abnormally positive manner. Nope, that was Virgilius.
Yeah.
You think so too? But aren't they twisted, broken, perverse figures?
Certainly not normal form to take.
Normal to them? They are normal while the world is the abnormal one. But more importantly, they have come to cherish themselves and see the world through their own eyes. The voice spoke in a dreamlike melody. However, it was dreamlike to such an extent that even their words seemed like a dream. It has become a self unbound by the eyes and standards of the city. However, the resulting form changes depending on the way it was revealed, thanks to my junior, who has a different idea than me, joining the light. The word junior being insignificantly introduced and disregarded bothered me. It was spoken with a light and calm tone, but I feel as if it was involved in every cause and effect.
How do you know all this?
Unwelcome premonitions began to gather as one.
You're the person responsible for this phenomenon.
Correct. I'm also a friend that wishes to help you make your color bloom.
It must be really important for you to make colors bloom in people.
Do you know where you're headed now? I couldn't reply. It's been a long time since I turned my eyes away from destination, vacantly standing still. It's been a long time since I hid my gaze. Yeah, this is fine. I have been curious about that for quite a while. Where is everyone going? It's clear that they're repeatedly trying to go somewhere at least. But what kind of place could cause the emergence of such ambition again and again? As long as time flows, people will try to go anywhere they want to. It's a matter of course. These are only my thoughts, but I think people are seeking love. Love. The word I'm unaccustomed to bothered me. Love is thought to be the emotion of valuing another above all else, but I think every act done with the thought of loving another is nothing but part of the process of loving oneself.
Are you trying to spark a debate regarding that?
No, you just have to listen, the voice said, as if lightly tossing the words, then continued its monologue. Because, in the end, the only person in the world who can completely see and understand who they are is themselves. They cannot truly comprehend or love a person who isn't themselves. As such, loving oneself is the only true final destination.
If what you say is true, are you saying we shouldn't look at anything out of that on ourselves?
You asked the same question as my junior. We must struggle, but as human beings we should use reason, not emotion. The voice readjusted itself. So, he said, we have to fight in the most human way possible, through clothing and tools, while holding the human form in high regard. But that only pollutes the results. You don't need moderation when revealing yourself. After all, if you go through something without properly reaching its conclusion and keep going in such a roundabout way, your wish will become diluted and be forgotten all over again.
Like with the present-day people of the city.
Exactly. Moreover, if the tools made from my heart are broken, wouldn't my heart break in turn? That is to say, we should express our love solely with our own bodies. Your whole body and your heart collide with each other, and you come to love yourself.
So I should disregard everything that isn't me.
That's right.
Have you always been this way? Driving those trying to reawaken down another path?
I simply ask questions others have never given thought to, and usually we understand each other. I support and lend them strength. so they can continue on their new path. A friendly yet ruthless pressure. Don't look at anything but yourself and be buried in self-love. It says it will give you the power to do so. The back of my neck grew warm. Has anyone ever presented such a pleasant solution up to now? In this city where individuals are insignificant, I'm allowed to look only at me and ignore everything else. It was so radiant that I wanted to close my eyes, even in their present states. However,
as you say, I'm sure I'd be satisfied if I accepted. I'd feel fulfilled and content. It'd be a satisfaction that I've never experienced before.
but
It'd be nothing more than a momentary pleasure. Even if you tried to paint the world to the brim, like the distortion filled with dots, for immediate gratification, you'd never be able to paint it all with such a method.
it would be a thirst that couldn't ever be satisfied. Then, wouldn't distorting only prevent you from looking an inch... Actually, I think this is Virgilius. Yeah, this is Virgilius.
Then, wouldn't distorting only prevent you from looking an inch ahead of yourself?
It could be. Still, that interpretation is your idea and color, is it not? As for me, I have my own color, and others have their own color as well. I simply inform them of one more path.
How cowardly.
For doesn't imposing the standards of right or wrong and judging me make you the same as one of the many city dwellers you thought wounded?
Now my eyes have been opened.
Obviously, there was something to be gained from the conversation with the voice. The blade that once was hidden in my heart was revealed, and I rediscovered where it was pointing and what I needed to confront. But that path can only be followed when all the beauty and ugliness of the world is held in my gaze, even if it weighs down on my surroundings.
There's no point in continuing this conversation.
Was my proposal not to your liking? The voice seemed to be quite disappointed.
You appear to be the cause beyond all the distortions. I have no real way of knowing who you are. However, what do you hope to achieve with all this whispering and background manipulation?
As I told you, I believe everyone should fight the world in order to paint their own colors. And I'm a person too. Shouldn't I love all this redacted text. If someone is unable to be who they truly are, even after I lend them the power to do so, to paint the world with the colors. When I heard its answer, I closed my eyes. So once all is said and done, in the flow, gosh, so much redacted text. An unprovoked smile emerged to my lips. I was laughing. A world where you, as if a starving beast, must struggle against everything your endless thirst to build your own world. If I went down the path the voice told me, it would surely be pleasurable, but it wouldn't get me down to where I want to go. Thus, I have only one way to go. To dread with all the pain and thirst I have experienced until now and will suffer through again in the future. Because only I can do it.
It seems we're going to take opposite paths.
Fucking hi! Don't turn on, please. Yes. Oh no, I have a sleep thing that I forgot to toggle off because it will often turn on if I'm like just sitting still for a second, or if I have to quit quickly BRB.
I see.
Yes, then go your own way. It too must be the color of the person you are. And so, I wear a crown of thorns upon my head, so that I may shoulder everything until my future victory. Faded laurel leaves sprout to cover all the thorns in my head, and tears of blood flow from my eyes so I may see all the sins I'll have to bear from now on. And the thorny path I shall travel is a curtain of blood containing my karma, a crimson cloth that covers my whole being. I'm dragged down into a pit. Within are many cries, everybody's agony surging together. The pit is profound and dark, making it difficult to look ahead. but I will take hold of it in triumph. As I engrave everything into these eyes, hence I will present to the world a longed-for paradise I promised an old friend. I will fall into a hell of my karma and rest there, alone. Hell fucking yeah, that is kick-ass art. God fucking damn.
Yeah,
Let's
that's his ego.
fucking go. Oh, that was awesome.
And now we can play the one song of the of the playlist. Play Leviathan.
Yep. I would need I'll loop it really quick. Am I able to have this repeat?
Yes, you should be able to.
How the fuck do I have this specifically at repeat?
Is it not in the settings of the video itself?
I forget. I don't loop stuff usually. I have no way to loop this.
Well, fuck.
It's okay.
Is that because it's in the playlist itself?
Yeah, probably. Oh, wrong. One. I love that I immediately was like, oh, this is Carmen. And then, of course...
Yeah, the fact that you were able to deduce that immediately.
Well, I had to be like, I'm like, okay, someone who knows his personal name that is also a voice that... Oh, wait, this is Carmen, obviously. Book 19, Gaze. The cloak of blood I wrapped around myself began to settle. My wandering is over. The way forward is clear, and all that remains is to tread it. I shall spill blood, and at times drink it, but I will never stop this moment. However, before I can do so, I must cut down a distorted mass before me, the first of the blood that I truly must spill, and at the same time lop off the neck of my cowardice, which I've been turning a blind eye to for all this time. Ver, I'll tell you one more thing before we part. I might know a way to get you closer to achieving your dream. I recalled the voice again. If one were to think rationality, there is no basis for believing everything the voice said. However, I feel confident that being would not lie. It's something different from reason and logic. This was what my soul felt. It's strange, assuming there even is such a thing as a soul. If the flow my soul points to is right, if the method the voice speaks of exists, I can say that the time I've long waited for has finally arrived. If fate truly does exist, and if everything is predetermined to follow it, then surely this moment has been waiting for me. And I too must have been waiting for this moment to come. When my thoughts reached this point, I felt a slightly nauseating bliss. The idea that there may be something in this world that can grant my wishes like magic. That previously non-existent notion enveloped my heart. Fate has never been pleasant to me, thus I never believed in it. However, I killed many things while suppressing my heart. It appears that I felt relief from the story that everything I had done that stained my hands with blood was due to my fates. It's as if my wish, but true by fate, guided me here. Nope, there we go.
Hold on, let me try and figure it out.
If you can find an extended version, just put that in.
The problem is the one that has it has like
visual spoilers. If it has visual spoilers, I literally just put it in the playlist, and then I can easily swap to it without looking at the tab. Yeah.
Here, then I'll put it in real quick.
It's as if my wish, but true.
Alright, there it's in.
Here, let me do this.
I have no idea where the placement of it is.
There we go. I got it. Hooray. The power of having media buttons on my mouse. All the misfortunes I faced up until now formed the foundation of this very moment. This can't be. I never recorded this event with my thoughts. Distorted Jumsoon mumbled his apparent disbelief under his breath.
Yes. You might have drawn a great many worlds, but it was only enough to fill a canvas. And no matter what, humans cannot contain infinity in canvas. As such, there had to be a limit to your dots.
No, you died by my hand for the umpteenth time. After killing you again, I was sure I'd wake up and forget.
was just a repeat. Besides, there's no such thing as absolute. That's why I could advance into the future.
I hoped that absoluteness did not exist. But that is why hope can be cruel as well. Because as long as something is possible, expectations will arise. Because we don't know. Because they might not be empty. Suddenly a doubt arose. The voice was curious about what kind of world I wanted to create. If distorting is by nature a phenomenon brought about by that voice, it must have talked with Jamsoon and asked that same question. It would have whispered sweet words filled with sincerity and gentleness, telling him only to look at himself, and that would lend him strength. What is it that you hope to achieve? Or maybe this is... this is Virgilius. Yeah, this is Virgilius.
What is it that you hope to achieve?
Naturally, I want to fill the world with thoughts.
I see.
And you? What world are you trying to reach? Jamsoon's gross, covered with dots, glimmered. His countless pupils expanded to be the fullest, as if wanting to see the world I desired.
It's hard to put into words.
The world I want.
It's a world that can only be understood once you feel it with your whole body.
Jamsoon's mouth widened into a huge line. What a grotesque smile. Simultaneously, he began to rush me down with his dark blue fists. I didn't avoid the punches Jamsoon threw, but instead received them with my whole body. Every time I touch a spot tinged with a dot, I'm forced to face and sink into despair. After being dragged down deep into this quagmire, I once again see all the possible despair I could have encountered. However, now that I have forged my resolve, all the despair that unfolded before me began to reflect a tenacious hope. As such, I can cut them down without hesitation. All that obstructs me whenever I'm thrown into this world of thoughts. Within are Lapis, Garnet, Rikako, Onyen, Denver, Simnonsul, the children of the orphanage, and many other faces I miss but cannot meet anymore. Once everything I cut down shed its blood, the dot that had become nothing more than my quagmire was dyed red, akin to a puddle of blood. I rose, holding that redness. How can you stand upright amidst these dots? Jamsoon goggles his numerous pupils, seemingly unable to comprehend the situation. Although the painting, abundantly stamped with dots, may look full from a distance, blank spaces are just as abundant when looking closely. Similarly, the mind cannot be wholly filled with dots.
Your dots may brush against me, but they cannot stain me.
As soon as I finished speaking, Jamsoon gathered all his strength and struck the ground. Dots permeated the floor in a uniform pattern as if a burst of indigo paint, before rushing towards me at furious speeds. However, the fast-moving dots never connected. As such, they couldn't even form lines. This might have been because surfaces don't exist in the world he is trying to create. A blank space in between the dots is an infinity left empty, a scope left unchosen. I began to link the excluded gaps with the blood I continuously shed. Each dot needs to form a line, and the line flows to create a surface. And once that space is filled, I'll be able to envision my desire. As if by instinct, I coil the blood surface around itself like a flag to create a long, flowing line akin to a spear. A red spear made by neatly weaving dots one after another. I throw this line to Jamsoon's chest with boundless indifference. In order to catch the spear, Jamsoon swung his fist, unfolding a curtain made of countless dots. But there were too many leaking holes in that incomplete chain. The red line I created, both the surface and a red dot when seen from the front, penetrated through the curtain made of several blue dots, thus piercing Jamsoon's right arm and shoulder. God, I love Project Moon's team's art. God damn.
It's really good.
It reached completion with only a single dot. Oh, this is Virgilius, yeah.
and reach completion.
Hi,
with only
Shaper.
a single dot. The moment the dots become aligned, the beauty that that enchanted you faded away. Did it not?
Humans have no choice but to walk along lines and live atop surfaces. For the ones who advance, a dot is merely fleeting. Dots are just moments. Perhaps as time passed and the many moments of despair that came my way accumulated one by one, the instants that were mere dots formed a line, opening a path of possibility. Shamsun, in his obsession with the moments, was fascinated by the stimulation an instant could cause. He couldn't break free from the moments that gave him the ecstasy of soaring without limits, or the hopelessness of free falling without knowing when held at the floor. Now that he knows the contradiction of the dots, he'll be dragged down towards the endless abyss, like the branches of a tree that had its roots dug up. According to the voice, distorting is a form of rebirth under a new appearance by fully embracing their craving. The value they consider to be the answer becomes their raison d'etre, and their form changes to the shape they wished for. If the very desire that encompasses their foundation collapsed, what would happen to the things that compose it? If it cannot exist, it would only be right for them to melt down. Shamsun stayed silent, and all his movements came to a standstill. Is he entering the egg once again? However, the world isn't so kind and convenient as to give someone so many chances. Like with people or the city, it may seem friendly on the outside, but it is unspeakably cold inside. Shamsun kept staring at me. No expression was discernible from the face where the gaze originated. Then, a blue liquid began to burst out from Shamsun's stomach. A machine arm wielding a saw blade divided Shamsun's chest in half. Something stirred from within him. It wasn't a cocoon, an egg, or anything similar. A completely alien form that had at no point of contact with the series of dots that was the life of Shamsun. The thing... Okay, which had begun to vigorously cleave and stretch Shamsun's flesh, made itself born by dragging its huge size, too great to fit but inside his body outward. It appeared to be an iron strong box with saw blades attached to it. It also looked like a bizarre sculpture with several arms resembling bug legs emerging from it. Hi, Schadenfreude? Right.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, Schadenfreude. Hi, Schadenfreude. Nice to see you here, I guess. And at the center of it all, gaze emanating from a single eye. Our eyes meet. Yeah, I'm not looking at it. Hashtag the thing. We need to stop looking at the thing or else it's gonna kill people. I'm not looking at it. It's peeking at me. The pupil in that closed off space is stealthily and, at the same time, persistently peeping at me. Immediately, a pair of saw blades furiously spun and tried to cut me down with enough force to grind even the air. By reflex, I managed to block the saw blade with my sword. Perhaps it isn't correct to say I managed to block it. It was unmanageable, so heavy that it's hard to accurately represent in words. The saw blade spun and came face to face with mine, and blood began to splatter in all directions from the blood-twined red sword. If this situation persists, the sword itself would be cleaved apart. That by itself isn't an issue. I can always make a new sword from blood, but that would necessitate new blood to be shed to maintain the blade. I'd like to avoid that. As such, I wrap my body in my red cloak, becoming one giant drop of blood. The saw grinds even this, causing countless blood spurts to clammily drench the floor like a fountain. The fallen blood soon pools together, forming a puddle. And I become one with the blood, hiding my body within. Until all the blood on the floor dries up, I'll be able to reappear anytime I want. No, to be more accurate, and a feeling I could do so. This earned me just a little breathing room. Before the blood coagulates, I have to finish assessing the situation. The eye was still looking at me. It was something different from glaring. There was a vicious greed to it. It was craving and coveting after me with its eye. While I was in the puddle, it changed its target and began tearing the things crawling in the lab to pieces. Even if they were only incapacitated, my efforts to save them had already been torn to shreds. Eventually, after slaughtering everything that moved before its eye, it turned its gaze to the next target, the three people standing behind one of the laboratory's shattered windows. Gubo, a researcher named Asya, and Nonsul. As if satisfied with his observation, Gubo nodded to Asya, who then opened the lab's back door. The corridor was visible through the slightly ajar door. Could Asya already maneuver through the corridor? If so, he could have escaped from here at any given moment. He must have had many reasons not to fly away, even though he knew how to open his cage. Leaving behind Nonsul, who was shouting in confusion, the two entered the corridor and promptly closed the door. And now, Nonsul is alone. The many-legged box dashed towards him, spinning its saw blade. Nonsul will now understand the meaning of the situation. The only tool he has at disposal is a somewhat thin knife made for extracting moonstones. A trader's blade, adequate for gouging those without murderous intent, but not fit for standing up to those who have. Nonsul knows he will die without being able to put up a proper resistance. And he vaguely knows that I will try to save him. Bound to happen eventually. Yeah, drink of water.
All good. You don't need to talk like Virgilia's Rin.
It enhances the mood to save him from this situation. The saw blade wielding box, together with a cacophonous metallic sound, closes in on Nonsul until only one step remains. And that is when I emerge from the blood puddle, exposing my form. Gabe, shout yourself out. I swing my bloody sword, spraying blood droplets onto the box. Skittering home. Hi, Gabe. Once dispersed, the embedded drops soon and condense into sharp blades that cut it apart. However, although the blood itself it remained uncut, as if denying the violence born of blood. The blood daggers stick into the iron box without being able to pierce it, but that was enough to direct the box's attention to me. Its body turns around, and once again our gazes meet. I asked Nonsul who was behind it.
What were your reasons for doing this?
I did not hear that at all, Blen.
What were your reasons for doing this?
Thank you. His reasons. Yeah, that was good. That was good. You were slightly leaning away and way more from the microphone as you were also getting softer. It was bound to, yeah. I understand it's hard with the Virgilia's voice. His reasons don't matter at this point. I just want to hear from them from Nonsul's mouth. I wondered what he had to gain from turning his back on me in the office. You voiced Nonsul, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Boss, why did you do it?
Resignation was visible in Nonsul's face. We both know that we only have a few moments before we attract the box's gaze, and that the situation could reverse at any time.
You can survive anything, you know, but I can't. Unlike the ring, you wouldn't seek revenge that doesn't benefit in your plan in the pursuit of a singularity. However, I don't have the self-confidence to let myself be hunted down by the ring for the rest of my life. Was I the only one? I'm sure the others felt the same. So you thought that I would let you live? No, I didn't.
Saying so, Nonsul showed a weak smile, appearing to be a little exhausted.
But my family will. You'd kill me, a traitor, but never touch my family.
This is Nonsul.
The ring wouldn't yeah, and I've zoomed in more on my end, so I had to look around.
Oh, good.
The ring wouldn't mind doing something like that. Still, at least it wasn't the middle.
I closed my eyes. Nonsul's words carried a heavy weight. I had wandered aimlessly along the road, relying on the orphanage. However, I couldn't protect even that, nor could I properly avenge the children. So I can only wonder how uncertain and risky I must have seemed to my subordinates' eyes. Not only that, but to what extent was I able to protect someone I didn't know? In the end, I, who couldn't do anything right, was the one that pushed Nonsul into that choice. I failed to consider Nonsul's position, and Nonsul also didn't try to comprehend mine. In this world, moments of disconnect like these will inevitably occur. We thought we knew each other, but despite our overconfidence in our finest senses, we couldn't truly understand each other.
If I were to die, then how would you bring me down? How to bring you down with me? But, after all, my wish for death was a desire beyond my reach, too.
I shut my eyes during the fleeting moment it took to recollect the thoughts and emotions raging inside my body. The box had already spun around and missed Lucille's body. The immediate slaughter occurred before I was able to do anything. That thing couldn't think, only hunger. I once again hid myself in a puddle of blood. Inside the thoughts, I abandoned such sentiments as sorrow and grief that I could candidly express to Nansul. No matter whose death unfolds before me, I resolved to walk down this path. I didn't obtain enough information from the short clash I had with it. However, I instinctively knew that thing was a new existence, wholly estranged from the sequence of thoughts that was the life of a human being called Jimsu. Something like a distortion, yet different. Or maybe. It's a very weak guess, but I have no time to leisurely solve that thing's origin. The air here is cold and dry, making spilled blood harden quickly. If all the blood dries up, I won't be able to reveal my body, and will be trapped on the floor as I am now. Oh! The gaze persistently followed me as I shifted my position within the blood. Its pupil steadily chased me as if it knew for certain where I was inside the puzzle. I don't have much blood left now in this familiar yet new weapon and armor. I feel like I'll be unable to use this ability anymore if I run out of blood. If that were to happen, I'd die vomiting out all of my blood. These tools can only be used again if I fill them with someone else's blood. Thus, I have to finalize my judgment before the blood dries up. As that thing emerged from a distortion, I could not have a completely different nature from them. Therefore, its existence as a being consumed by and that behaves according to its desire has, in the end, remained unchanged. That from the beginning may have been yet another facet of the distortions. However, I still have no solid information about any of this, only vague guesses. I have no other choice than to amass what little information I have and grope my way forward. It should have been a strenuous task to locate my position with the blood in a general sense, but even inside the puddle, that thing maintains eye contact with me. Also, during the brief moment I closed my eyes, the box moved from behind me to kill Nansul. As such, that eye long sword is another of his gaze. Hell yeah, buddy! There we go! You may have not had the managerial information on it, but you figured it out.
Virgilius is very quick with his wits. So.
He is a fucking color. Final book, Charon and Garnets. I closed my eyes. To look at someone is to capture them in your eye. It is to insert them into your awareness through the window called the eye. The glass window of this width of this window is so clear in appearance that it seems to allow no distortion. But in truth, it creates a biased sight, which is then taken to heart above everything else. That is to say, even though I look at it, I must not insert it into my gaze. If one wills it, one's wish will always lay in their gaze. But as wishes are always far away, we must always maintain distance as well. As such, I saw it. I decided to no longer care about what it was, even if it killed what was once the children, even if its original form was the man who made Garnet enter his cocoon. I could not put any emotion into my strike. I would remove it just as I would a block of stone, a hurdle placed on my path. I still had my eyes closed, so by my series of deductions, it should have stayed still because it would have only moved if I had looked at it. However, it didn't. It moved to somewhere else. Is there still something in this place that could hold that thing in its eyes? There should be no surviving people here, however, so there should be no gazes. I heard the disordered noise of saw blades and the sound of something solid, like a jewel shattering into tiny pieces. Yes, like the jeweled Garnet was cocooned in. I heard the sound of what that voice had called an egg being broken apart. The sounds of that huge crystal cracking and shattering were over in an instant. Only after that did it stop moving, and silence once again descended upon the laboratory. Garnet had been watching everything. In that opaque and solitary space, he watched the outside, always in a struggle to hatch. I slowly walked towards it, my eyes shut. I feel the shaking of the muscles in my closed eyes and sword-gripping hands. I took some steps, neither few nor many, until I felt I was standing right in front of it. Until a while ago, I believed I could cut that thing down without emotion. If I were to attack with my blood-drenched weapon like that, I'd be able to cut as if there were only empty air there. However, I adamantly wanted to see its form struggling in pain, and so I chose to capture it in my gaze. I opened my eyes. Soon after, I saw its machinery activate and its open pupil from the gap in the box. Immediately, a mechanical arm bearing a saw blade flew in. Something blunt was needed to catch it. For that sake, I strained my heart to coil the mong. The blood cloak, worn with resentment, was sturdier than before, but the indiscriminate gyration of the saw blade forced the blood to shed and burst. I must bear it. I allowed what little blood I had left to gush out to endure this brutality. I put my hands in the cold metal box and looked to strain the eye, hidden deep within.
What are you looking at that makes you so pleased?
And before my blood could run out and fall apart, to Mong, thirst. The Mong spurred my thirst to the blood I was to spill, so I jabbed my blade deep into the box. The gazes, the people, the destiny that had until now merely observed the suffering of my life, as if cursing everything in this world. I poured out all the strength I could muster into it. The blade of blood, embedded into its eye, took on a sporadically pointed shape akin to a mass of thorns. This form was not of a sword meant to kill, but of a tool that merely inflicted pain. As if something broke in my head, I ceaselessly thrust the stake-like thorn sword into its eye sockets. I couldn't protect anything. I may never be able to. That eye peered as if it could see my whole life, from past to present, dryly yet interestedly. It was as if I, who even let Garnet die, the one I could have saved, would only see my own impatience and naivete behind that pupil. The box, as if trying to release itself from the agony, shook violently and, at the same time, fiercely pulled down its saw blade in an attempt to cleave me. My undying rage was directed at this thing that does not pay the price for peering at tragedy only for pleasure. Are the fruits of what I experienced in the thoughts only ripening now? No, this wrath is towards myself, for having forgotten about Garnet even though I surpassed those thoughts, but also towards that thing, which consistently peered without forgetting about Garnet's. I stopped the sword that I had been plunging in for a while. Two eyes that shed blood and tears looked at the single eye in the hole, also shedding blood and tears.
Now I'm the one who peers.
The box, as if screaming, shook unceasingly. I drove the blood-woven blade even deeper into the gap in order to engrave the pain until the ends. As the knife burrowed into a deeper place in the box, I felt it get caught on something. With all my might, I excruciatingly pulled the blade upwards, cutting apart. Hell yeah, buddy! Goddamn. Everything, from the flesh inside the box to the safe-like body, was sliced clean. The stream of blood that rose to the ceiling fell like a broken hope that couldn't find a place to rest. The rain of red blanketed its body just as blood covered mine. Without me noticing, the lab was already painted red. The cold laboratory and machinery were stained with blood that could belong to anyone, and corpses, each telling its own story, lay strewn about in disarray. Once warm, the blood cooled down, giving off a metallic stench. Yes, if there is a hell, it would look like this. The scenery I've always seen is like this too. By the time I forgot myself in the stillness of the hell before me, I began to hear mechanical noises coming from a speaker somewhere in the lab, and then a familiar voice leaked out. It was Longyen's. I already knew what he was going to say. This moment also occurred in one of the innumerable despairs I experienced in the dots. But I couldn't stay calm. My mind was perpetually darkened. Are you able to voice Longyen?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
Can you hear me, boss? If he was right, this should be the frequency. I think it's working. I have to tell you this.
Longyen's breathing was coarse.
Boss, the office has been attacked.
He was talking with difficulty as if throwing up blood over his voice. There exists no device or means to transmit speech from this side. I have no choice but to listen to the words coming one-sidedly from the cold speaker.
The picture we all saw together, the location of that laboratory, was an N Corp. Their taboo hunters came here. They rummaged through the office.
Oh,
Killed
because...
everyone.
Uh-huh.
Their taboo was broken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And unlike Vespa, actually did their job.
Yeah. Based on my experiences in the dance, I had already put together several pieces of the puzzle in my head. The ring's laboratory, which could only be reached through the corridor, was somewhere within N-Corp, and the footage of their nest, where filming is taboo, found its way into her office.
However, I thought an office of our grandeur would be able to negotiate with the taboo hunters before the dispatch. I guess the contents of that tape were a taboo of quite a high level.
And since the film contained something absolutely unpardonable, we who saw the footage were observed and identified in turn. Once N-Corp's taboo hunters begin their pursuits, they will retrieve the footage after disposing of everyone who has seen it. This must have been the reason why Gabo, who works for N-Corp, was at the ring's auction house. Through the auction, he would go to the laboratory built somewhere in N-Corp, hidden by the ring with the corridor, identify its location, and retrieve their researcher. The fact that N-Corp's taboo hunters invaded our office, located in V-Corp's nest, also means that the two wings had already finished necessary agreements and approvals. One day I met with a group called the Elders of V-Corp. They visited me under the guise and greetings of having a meal with me. They spoke with the edges of their mouths stretched to their fullest. Contact us whenever you need it. We'll always be on your side, Mr. Virgilius. Understands? Weightless, empty words. They weighed the scales between N-Corp and I, and N-Corp was simply heavier. Their tedious and lip service didn't impact the weighing scales at all.
Well, boss, I'm sure you can negotiate with N-Corp's golden horses, so I'm not worried about that. Barikako, and Sewell, and Denver. Please take good care of them.
Through the speakers, I could faintly hear the sound of someone walking from behind the door of the room where Long Yen was.
And my special bonus. Please pass it to those three when they grow up.
Contact was lost with the roar of something being broken. No more words were left behind by Yang Yen. Only silence remained again. In the end, what I felt was no different from the emotions I endlessly experienced in Jumpsuit's thoughts. But compared to the myriad despairs, this is no different from the pain of a paper cut. So it shouldn't have hurt anymore. But the knife pierced the abscessed wound again before the calluses could form. I pressed down on the blood that was flowing out and endured it. Now am I truly enduring it? I may have already shed all the blood inside me in my hands. Here, I'm gonna...
Limbas.
Yeah, do this. That was hype for the major of the chapter. I'm like, okay, yep, I understand this fits the moon.
I will let you know there is a bit that I will play music of my own that fits the situation.
Oh, sure, just let me know when to pause, yeah?
Yeah.
After cutting that thing down, a small safe-like box had been left in front of me. I stood before the unmoving box and quietly stared down at it. What kind of monster doesn't die or disappear but leaves behind something like this? I left the box there and began to take the next step. Now that I've lost everything, I have to leave this place, cut everything down in my path, and go to where I need to go. Because the city needs to be punished. How ironic. Now that I have lost everything, that man who suffered the same came to mind.
We got here a lot faster than I thought we would. You're still living the simple life. You got a color. Don't want to try doing something that brings you a lot more money.
Should I pause the music?
No, I'll tell you one. It seems marriage was worth it. Does it look that way? Your blade looks duller than when we first met. And now you have the odd laughter mixed in. It's quite unpleasant. Guess it's obvious. Truth is, Even back when I wore my mask in front of you, I felt like you could see through me. That pressure in your eyes still hasn't changed. If someone heard this, I think we'd have met often. We've only worked together during the Blood Red and Night case, right? Well, that incident didn't drag on for way too long.
Uh-huh. Despite calling my gaze a pressure, he was one of the few people that would casually directly look me in the eye. That man, previously so busy with hiding behind a mask and suppressing himself, now had become so sly he could show his face and talk freely and at length by himself.
Why are you living in District 9? You could have gone to another nest. Well, the nest we'd hoped to enter rejected us. But my wife likes it here, so...
In many cases, fixers who have reached a certain grade are denied migration to nests based on past requests, performance, or contracts. Conversely, this means that others are more eager to let high-grade fixers into their nests. In many cases, fixers who have reached a certain grade are denied migration. Basically, like, they're kept in the back, they're kept out of the nest, basically just, hey, you're very valuable to do work, but not so... Huh, am I interpreting that right? It's like...
I assume it's more so they see them as a threat.
Right,
And if
understood.
they were to go wild, like with Argalia.
Yeah. So, yeah, understood.
You know how it is. If you set your mind to it, you can enter a nest. But it's really important which nest you get into. Even that, there, you have to find a good location. And a house with the options you like. You just can't move in that easily. Plus, you have to consider the price of the house, which has been going up. And the schools in the area, as they'll become important later on. And so, that's why people say that once you enter a nest, it's hard to move out without a special reason. You have a lot to say about it, as much as you desire it. Yeah, I'm a little greedy. So, what's your desire? People who's risen up to a certain status always want at least one thing, because that's how they crawl their way up.
Those who wanted to rise above the city had to do everything in their power. It takes a desire that shields one against vice to climb up this cliff, as one wrong step would likely result in a fall.
Didn't you say this was your last job? Yep. It's almost time we get going. Come to think of it, it's pretty crazy that I'm going to do my last job with you. Wouldn't hurt to tell you on this occasion, then.
Oh no. Oh, the last job, I see. Unwittingly, I lightly spoke out the desires and world I had pictured in my mind. At our first meeting, he seemed to abhor everything he saw, such that he would bow his head and hide his face from the world. It was as if he was trying to bear the sins of the city. Was that why I thought he had what it took to understand my world?
Seriously? Yes. That's unexpected. I don't understand why everyone who gets a color ends up having a screw loose without exception. Forget it. You're just thinking of it as an insincere joke either way. Well, yeah. But considering it's you, it might not be impossible.
A long pause of silence.
But don't take everything so seriously. That's that, and this is this.
Just in case you didn't recognize immediately. I looked at him, quietly smiling.
I can't say I know you well, but I don't think those words suit you.
So I assume that was the fucking last
job before the incident happened.
Yep. Oh, my...
To which, hey, you should probably pause.
How long has it been since that day? The city had become brimmed with light and darkness for quite some time. The sound of a piano had also echoed far and wide for a while. By the time I myself realized it, something was already speaking to me in my darkened room.
Red Gaze. Were you involved in this incident?
This voice, which I hadn't heard in a long time, held spiteful malice and murderous intentions. Together with it came a foul stench of blood. I did not notice such a dark presence because of the intense patience of the intruder, who was capable of perfectly concealing it all in the shadows.
Black silence. You didn't ask for permission, as usual.
I felt as if I could see tear-filled eyes beyond his mask.
I've been informed of what happened, and I feel sorry for it. But I'm also curious as to why you believe I was involved in that. You feel sorry? Quit it with this worthless speech.
My sympathetic feelings were genuine. It is also true that my words had no worth. There are no words of comfort in this world I can offer to this person. Grief and sorrow are his to bear, and nothing can replace them. The same applies to me. As such, there is nothing either of us can do about it. Any words we'll exchange hereafter will not be words meant to touch the hearts. Now this one, depending on what I will say, will try to murder me immediately. And when he does, I must do my best to defend myself and slay him in turn. I must consider all such possibilities and choose my words and actions carefully as if I had a starved, ravenous beast in front of me.
Red gaze. You once told me about the world you desired. It's because of that conversation we've had in the past that I'll point out that you've got it completely wrong.
That slip of the tongue. Was he able to understand the wish laden in those words?
No, it's nothing more than a dream I once had. I can't even begin to put it into practice. It's merely an ideal.
I looked into the eyes that were hidden somewhere behind the mask. Some time passed, and in time a deeply hoarse voice arose.
You'd better be telling the truth.
The black masked someone calmly opened the door and left, disappearing into the darkness and quiet, never to be seen again. The words I was unable to speak out, mixed together with the still stirring bloodlust in the air, whirled around in my throat.
If such a world really came to pass, even as you are now, you would be at peace.
The silence of that time, which appeared as if an uninvited guest, raised a valid point. The time to create such a world had arrived. From here, I could hear only a low sound coming from the laboratory. It came from the test tubes that contained the orphanage's children. Most of the tubes were forced open, and the children that changed due to the glass window were lying dead on the floor. However, a single test tube remained closed, and now is slowly opening.
I should probably stop being on angels.
Yeah, you can. I saw a face I thought I would never see again. The face, quietly and expressionlessly looking at me, was that of Lapis. I ran straight to Lapis.
Lapis.
She had no external wounds. However, she didn't reply, for her pupils no longer looked at the lights like in the past. Her eyes, no longer bound to the wheel of time, saw a different world beyond this one. Lapis. I'm not Lapis. My name, Sharon. The ring's glass window experiment was successful. With the success of Soon's experiment, Lapis no longer exists. Expelled and overridden by Sharon, Lapis is effectively dead. The light that I thought was a lighthouse was merely a shadow in the water. There was no island after all. Thus I decided to turn my back on the child in front of me. It would only dig up more of my wounds, so I had to sever our connection before it was built. This is both for my and Sharon's sake. I approached the various administratives and recording devices installed in the chamber where Gubo and Natsu were. I had to print out and organize all the technical documents about the ring's research. I had to use everything available, so I paid no mind to whose and how much blood stained this data. The only thing that mattered was whether it was valuable or not. A strange child in the shape of Lapis walked to my location. Sharon, hungry. Without a reply, I kept collecting documents. The child, without any reaction in particular, walked to another spot. These papers hold some high-value information. Companies and fixers who would make good deals came to mind. At this rate, I should be able to attain the power needed to make the first step. The moment I thought so, the corpses of Rikako and Nonsul under the aegis of my gaze. I stopped what I was doing and moved to Rikako's front. His eyes, fallen, backstabbed, looked at shadows. I closed his eyes. I took off my coat and covered Nonsul's minced body. And before I realized it, Sharon was observing me.
What are you doing?
Sharon found this shiny thing. It's warm. Sharon reached out her hands. It was a hand with no alertness or fear. Suddenly, the pit of my stomach began to hurt again. The pain that pierced my back, caused by that very same hands, in one of the many alternate worlds, felt more bearable than this.
This is...
In Sharon's hand was a red jewel. The jewel garnet was cocooned in, but that was broken and shattered by those saw blades, losing its light and warmth. Yet the piece Sharon held was shining as if crying. Among the numerous tiny fragments, this was the only one that shined. I was about to grab the piece Sharon held out, but she withdrew her hand again. Sharon found it in that pile, so it's Sharon's. I like it. It's warm. I painfully suppressed the emotions that seemed to be squeezing in my throat. Sharon is curious about the name of this shiny. Do you know?
Garnet. A jewel that shines red.
In the end, my heart, which didn't wish to exchange words, slowly melted down before this child who had picked up a star in the night. Why does this thing called the heart not work as I wish it to? Together with the sound of an explosion, one of the lab's doors is blown open. They looked quite different from N-Corp's taboo hunters. Actually, it doesn't matter what or who they are. I seized the hand of my Gladius once more.
That's you. Actually, wait, no, I'll do this one because you'll know when you need to speak. LCA Special Operations Team completed entry into the operational position. Red has been found. The area is now surrounded by the second camp.
An unfamiliar name was heard, but that didn't matter to me. They were probably just one of the obstacles in the road that I would have to cut down anyway. With that thought in mind, I was about to put some strength into the hand holding my sword when...
There you go. There's you.
Fuck, I have to figure out a voice for her now? I thought I'd have a minute.
Nope.
No, there's no need to shed blood anymore. Someone walked out from the middle of the armed group. A person with hair that seemed white from the distance, but grayish up close stood before me. She showed no agitation or nervousness toward my sword-wielding appearance. Rather than calm, she seems to be simply fatigued by everything. A familiar feeling. Boredom. Interesting. I am Faust of the Limbus Company. This is the first time I've heard of such a company. But since this is a company, they must have raided this lab for its technology. I know what you want, and I can help you achieve it. I regarded it as nothing more than the lip service of an employee. A truly worthless statement. Lapis and garnets. We can give those two back to you. I motionlessly stared at her words. I felt my eyes tremble for a moment. I planned to walk the path on my lonesome, but the red light shining from a jewel shattered to pieces. The warmth of that light offered to me by a child, both familiar yet different. That single sentence from a stranger which compelled me to turn my head, if only faintly, to the lights, and a fainted promise from the past. They seized me, stopping in my tracks. How about it, Redcase? Would you like to work with Limbus Company? I closed my eyes.
Let's hear what you have to say.
With 20 minutes to spare, we did it. Oh my gosh. All right. Holy shit, that did not go the way I thought it was going to go in the slightest. Oh my gosh.
Didn't expect to see Faust this early.
I did not expect to see
Roland cameo.
I did not expect to see Roland cameo. I'm like, I'm sorry, fucking Roland's? And also I'm like, I was half beginning to think, I'm like, I'm sorry, did fucking Virgilius make Limbus Company? I'm like, oh no, it's already established. fucking
It
what
is
is already
already a
established?
thing.
Oh, it's done. Blinn, thank you so fucking much. I
Of
know that I
course.
took the brunt of it, and I'm going to have a lot of tea. However, oh my god, I would not that Roland's and Virgilia's section. Oh boy, that would have been.
I was so fucking ready for that. I was kind of hoping Nomad would get home so me and him could do that together.
Oh, that would have
but
been really cool. Well, is he not already home?
I don't think so. Let me check.
He would have
He
been.
is.
Yeah, he would have been free like a few hours ago. You could have messaged him for that. Oh well.
Fuck.
Damn. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this does not close out the way I thought it would go in the slider.
I just got home.
Oh, he just got home.
Okay, you just got home.
Okay, that's good. That's good then.
Okay.
We just finished.
Dude,
we just finished the live.
I was listening.
Oh, you're listening? Hell yeah.
Fuck.
We honestly, with our timeline, we could have actually waited a bit if we fucking okay. Wow, that did not close out the way I always thought it would in the slightest. And also, oh my god, I love Virgilia so fucking much.
Woohoo! Funny Black Silence moment.
Every last person who has not read this book has called him a fraud, by the way.
Called him a what?
Yeah. A fraud.
A fraud?
Mhm.
It's mostly just
You'll find
because
out
they played just through Limbus Company, and through his actions in Limbus, they call him a fraud.
Well, yeah, I imagine because he's not a playable character. Yeah, he's like in the background, I imagine. But like with this, you can easily see. Oh man, I'm so curious. Holy shit.
I'm trying to remember. Schadenfreude is a he, right?
Yeah, dude could not solo a he, but also then again, he did also like be like, I'm gonna open my eyes so I can savor this. And like, I still think with your level of gear, you probably could have soloed that, but
To be fair, he just got done fighting a distortion.
he did. He did. Yeah. Oh my god, Virgilius is so cool. Yeah, Virgilius is so fucking cool. Also, like, that theme song, the Leviathan song, definitely fit, like, that whole encounter really fucking well. Oh, Blinn, thank you so much for accompanying me with this. I could not have tackled... I would have just read this off stream and not tried to do a voiceover, because this was definitely a process. Oh boy, the process of having your main character never fucking speak until the last 2 chapters. And also, oh my god, I got to voice Carmen. That was a jump scare moment. I'm like, okay, then.
White woman jump scare.
Crazy cult leader-esque jump scare. That was really intriguing, too, to, like, be able to go actually, like... Because the only view we've had of her has been very much from, like, behind, like, off in the distance. Yet that was, like, completely direct, even more than what we got from, like, Zhao talking to her. Oh, this makes me so curious about so many things.
The only time we've gotten a full direct thing of Carmen was
with
in
Angela.
Ruina.
Yeah. But even then, that was still, like, removed in a sense and, like, you know, complete antagonistic. Meanwhile, that was, like, we got so much more of her, which I had a lot of fun playing into and being like, oh, man, she really does toy with the individual. And the way that Virgilius, like, I really love that way that Virgilius... I do not know how this would have been done in manga form. I do not understand how this would have been done in visual form, that whole exchange and everything, especially with like the deep introspection within Virgilius and everything. Yeah, I cannot imagine going into Limbus without reading this. This feels so much essential
And yet a lot of
material.
people have.
And yeah, a lot of people have. 90% of people probably have, where it's like, this is really important shit here. I don't know how important, but yeah, goddamn. Okay. Well, we have 40 minutes to spare, which is amazing. That gives me time to make dinner and have dinner and
Get
not
some
be
tea.
eating dinner while we're starting. I have actually just finished my tea. It would have been if I knew that Nomad was on his way home, we probably could have like delayed a little bit to have that exchange, that exchange. But so yeah, that explains. Fucking Virgilius took Roland out on the last job that took him away from this the nest.
Well, we don't know what the job was.
We don't know what the job was,
just,
right? Yeah.
It was just the fact that someone needed help with something. It was
Because or not, what the fuck was
Olivier and
Olivier? Yeah, Olivier.
Yeah, and he said he needed some help with something, and we found out that also Virgilius was also there on that job.
And also the impression is, I think this was covered in earlier chapters or whatever, but like the orphanage was children whose parents died pretty much by Virgilius's hand in the smoke war, right? Was the impression
just on the job? Yeah.
Oh, just on the job in general. Okay, yeah. I am so fucking curious where things are gonna go, especially with the fucking garnet crystal. Like, I'm like, okay, so is Garnet basically going to power all the ID stuff in Limbus Company? How the hell do we get there? Because it sounds like this stuff has to be the powerhouse. I don't fucking know. I am left with no answers have been filled besides explanation as to why Virgilius is... Oh boy. I am excited. I'm so happy that we were able to work out so a Nomad can voice him. I understand why you like this guy. He is arguably, maybe... I'm not sure I can compare his depression with Roland's, but oh boy, he's definitely on
very different kind.
Very different
of depression,
kinds.
But they both have depression.
Yeah. Buddy has gone through a fucking lot. Oh, that is so cool. Interesting, great. It was felt so weird seeing Faust appear. I'm like, oh, she's part of this? She's part of this. This has already been established. Okay then, interesting. All right.
In terms of recent events, I will now post this.
Fiddlesticks, I seem to have stepped in something unsanitary. I don't want to distort Carmen. Oh. The whole back and forth exchange too was really good, of just her being like, isn't it so great? You can become your own person and just, like, love yourself. It's like,
no.
This sounds cultish in a way. I get what you're putting down and I'm not liking most of it. I'm going to do my own thing. That's okay. That's everything I wanted you to do. Okay.
Interpret it more as Virgilius, like, intentionally, like, just, no, I fucking hate myself, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. But in so doing, he finds reinforcement in his path where, like, he finds acceptance in that hatred in a way where he's no longer, like, trying to deny it by, like, through the grief of and denial of the orphanage and everything. He's like, no, everything sucks and I'm responsible for everyone dying and this is my path. And also, like, quite factually, that is true, and I believe in that. It's that belief, right, and everything.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking curious to see what the hell
Limbus starts.
I have a vague idea of how Limbus starts in terms of the tutorial and such. Granted, I think we're all going to experience the tutorial being very different from when all of us last experienced it, given that they changed that at some point.
Now that you're finally beginning Limbus too, I can start posting fucking Limbus memes.
It'll be great. So we're gonna cut off here. We'll be back in about 40 minutes. That gives, I mean, like, Nomad and Toast gives you if you just got home, please get food or whatever. And yeah, we will. Oh, I'm so glad that we ended on time. I was really worried. I was really worried we were gonna go overboard. But okay. I will see you all in 40 minutes. I'm gonna go get some food.
Yeah.
Yippee. All right, talk to y'all soon.
I will get tea and water.